Hey guys, it's Magaz here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a super short video taking a look at a piece of airsoft history that I have in my collection. Back in 2006 there was a movie called Children of Men with Clive Owen. Dystopian look at the future where people could not have kids anymore and the human race was gradually dying off. If you haven't seen it, definitely go take a look, because today we're going to be taking a look at a screen used airsoft gun from that movie. This here is the GSG X8, which is a super cheap Chinese version of the H&K XM8. This was screen used in Children of Men by the... Yeah, part of it just fell off. I'll get to that in a minute. It was screen used by the immigration camp security, or the police officers around there. And I picked it up back around 2007, 2008 from an old legend from the airsoft community called Tom Andrews. He's no longer around these days, which is super sad because he was super big in the scene back in the early 2000s, made some really cool custom guns and just a genuinely nice guy. But I picked this up off him because he had a bunch of them and he was selling them off really cheap. So the gun that this is based on is what's called an LPEG, or a low-powered electric gun. It is the most dog-dirt basic airsoft gun you can get that runs off a battery and a gearbox. Internally, it has a very tiny plastic gearbox, similar kind of in form and construction to an AEP. So like your MP7s, your Mac-10s, your Scorpions, things like that. But obviously not as high quality and definitely not as high output muzzle energy. So it says on here 0.5 joules, which is probably about right. I'd say the most I got out of this was about 180, so not the best. But I picked this up for 30 quid, and it is, like I said, a piece of airsoft history and cinema history. So sadly we can't fire it because it did die. Like I said, I've had this since about 2007. It has been in storage in a lockup that I had for quite a while. And sadly, that lockup was not the driest or most spider-free lockup you could ask for. And as a result, a lot of the rubber parts on this, I think this butt plate has been chewed by rats. And some of the rubber, as you can see, that just fell off again, has become so brittle and worn down that parts of it have broken off and it no longer holds onto the gun as it should. But it's not that important. This here is the base plate for the pistol grip. You can see on the bottom it has a little logo for a battery, and that's because the battery actually lives in the pistol grip. There's no motor in there. So let's go over this in depth. There are a number of versions of the XM8 as a low-powered electric gun. This particular version is the cheap as chips dog dirt version. There's a version you can still get nowadays, which comes in about 69 quid by both Elephant. And then there's the Pro model one, which uses a NiCad battery in the handguard. It's still quite crap, but it's an XM8 if you want one. From a distance, it looks pretty cool. But as you get closer and you look at it, it is a super cheap, cheesy, crap replica. The rear sight that you can see up here isn't factory standard with this LPEG. It's actually made by the company who actually put this together as a prop for the movie. It is a rubber cast replica of the actual proper dot sight for the real XM8 and I believe the G36. So that's probably the best part of the gun. It looks legit. You can't actually look through it. It's just a rubber dummy with a black plastic pretend lens on the end. So from the front, obviously we've got the flash hider, which is a two-prong flash hider. Super basic, it's in there, it doesn't come out. As we go further up, the receiver is made out of the most brittle plastic imaginable. It has over the years suffered some cracking, which is not great, but it's still holding up in one piece. Up front, one of the modifications that the company did was add a bolt through there with a key ring, which was obviously to add a sling to it because there were no sling rings on this at all. At the rear, they also added a bolt straight through there with a tiny little swivel hook. So when I got it, there was a super cheap, nasty sling in there, but through the years of it being in storage, that had gone completely gnarly and disgusting, so that's gone now. Up top, you have the carry handle This is just a really flimsy bit of plastic that's screwed on there. Looks like it's a fake wood finish, but it's been painted black. It's a really weird little piece, but from a distance, the aesthetics are fine. Charging handle is non-operable. This bit just flops from left to right. I think it is supposed to have a spring in it, but it does have a spring in it back there, but it is obviously doing nothing. So yeah, it's always just done that. The magazine, we'll take a look. It's like a roughly 30 round magazine. It's one of the cooler parts of the gun. It has the fake 5.56 rounds in there, so on set it will look pretty cool because you can obviously see the dummy rounds. Magazine release is, you can have it like an AK or G36, like that. Or it's got a little paddle finger release just there. It's nothing special because obviously it's an LPEG. The ejection port doesn't open. It has been painted lightly dry brush with silver to make it look like it's been worn. The hop up is accessible just there, but there is no hop down there anymore. Fire selector is ambidextrous and goes through safe, semi and automatic. And there is no click at all through that. In fact, it squeaks more than clicks. The trigger is just a super spongy little trigger. Feels absolutely horrendous. Pistol grip in it, mate. The stock does extend. It's nice and solid when it's there. When you bring it all the way to the end, it wibbles, wobbles, and feels like it's going to break. The butt plate is the same rubber as the bottom of the pistol grip. It looks like it's been chewed by something over the years, and it is definitely in a sort of rotting state right now. It's much harder than when I first got it, and I don't think it'll last forever. So that's the externals of the gun. When it did work, it was kind of fun. That kind of performance, kind of like a mini electric, maybe 150 to 180 feet per second. You could shoot your mates in the house with it, no factor. But obviously I didn't buy this because it was a super high performing AEG. I bought this because it was an opportunity to own a little bit of cinema history. Sadly, it's fallen a little bit into disrepair over the years, but that doesn't stop it from being an actual screen use prop from a really good movie. So yeah, that's basically it. I do enjoy getting this thing out every now and then and just holding it. It definitely just does feel like a toy, but being able to kind of connect with something that is screen used and part of, I've said cinema history too many times, but I guess you get what I mean. It's a cool little thing, and it just sits in my collection. Maybe one day I'll put it in some kind of custom frame and mount it up somewhere. But for now, it is as it is. The HK XM8, or as this one's called, the GSG X8, screen used from Children of Men. If you want to see more content on this channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. If you've got any questions about this rifle, leave them down below, or if you've got your own screen use props, let me know about them. I'm going to go wash my hands now because this thing is covered in probably some kind of carcinogenic dust from the place it's been stored. As always, I'm Magaz, and remember kids, the air may be soft, but our balls are hard.